Alright, testing audio, testing for sound, and want to make sure everything works right. Check 1 2 3, check, test 1 2 3. Hey everybody, this is a video about the new exporting feature in FlashCC. This is a kind of new feature that we have. So here we have in FlashCC, I've got a basic title that moves into my screen here, and basically all I want to do is export it now. Let's say I've got my whole movie finished and I want to export it out. I'd have my title here first, and then any of the actual hand animation that I have would be after this. So the new feature is this. It's a little bit different because it's not export movie anymore, it's export video. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Export, and then we're going to go to Export Video. When we go to Export Video, we're going to have an export video screen pop up. Make sure that your actual render size is correct, because this is going to reflect what your project size is. So if this is wrong here, your project size is probably going to be wrong, or it is wrong. You're going to make sure this convert video in Adobe Media Encoder is checked, and we'll say stop exporting when last frame is reached. And this is important. You're going to tell it where you want to actually download, or where you actually wanted to calculate and render the movie, and where it's going to be. This is where you're going to find it. So you're going to browse. I always just render to my desktop if you're in the labs or you're at home, just to avoid any sort of network complications where you're trying to render across a network. I just download it, or I just render it to my desktop, and I give it a name. And since this is just an example, I'm just putting an example name here. I'm going to say OK. And so if I have a name that already exists, it'll say, do you want to replace it? Make sure you have your name and the file, or the project name and the class number and all that as listed in the project notes. Once I do that, it's going to open up a complicated looking window here that is called the Windows Media Encoder. And so, I'm sorry, not Windows, it's Adobe Media Encoder. And so what you're going to have loaded up then is you're going to have any movies that you've already done. If this is your first time, you're going to have something that looks like this. It's just going to have one here, and it should be blue. And what it's going to tell you is that this is the name of the file that you're going to have. This one had my previous example that I had done, so it just had it preloaded in there. But this content was grayed out because it had already been rendered. This is blue because it hasn't been rendered yet. This is telling me the location where it's going to go, which is what I specified at the very first step a minute ago. The compression and the settings that we have, we're going to adjust, not over here, by simply going over to this panel here. And what you have is a long series of different presets that you can use, and I'm going to simplify it by simply scrolling down to the bottom here to an area. Let me just twirl these up, and I'm going to go down to the web area, and the web video area, and I'm going to go to the YouTube, and I'm going to twirl that down. Usually it's kind of twirled up. Twirl that down, and I'm going to click on the YouTube 720 HD or high definition. It's going to be a little bit bigger size. It's going to already give me a compression type that I can use, and I'm going to choose that. Now this was going to make the video a little bit bigger, so we can experiment. If we're not happy with it, we can convert it to something else. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just use this because it's already kind of ready to go. So I'm just going to click that, and then I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to click on this green play button, and it's going to actually render this thing out, and it does it really quickly, and it says done here. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and on my desktop I find the file named export using media converter, and I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to say open with QuickTime Player, because I have a QuickTime Player installed on my machine. If you use Apple, you should have those. If you use Windows tools, you can easily get that. Most people have that already. So here's my scene, and here is my animation just as I laid it out. Now when we display these, we are going to go to View, Loop, or just hit Control L. Then I'm going to say View Full Screen. And that's going to show the animation. This little thing down here is going to fade out, but this is such a short animation that it it just lasts a little bit. So now it's just going to show my whole animation, and it's going to loop it over and over and over again. That way you don't have to continuously hit the play button. All right. So that's what we're going to be. This is new to the class because we're just getting CC in the lab. So if this is something, we may experiment with some other sizes, but for now this is what I'm wanting you to do. So make sure that you are trying this out in lab before things are ready to be turned in. And so this is something that's new again, so try it out, test it out, make sure it works for you, and give it a chance. And this should be fairly simple. Alright, so that's all I wanted to show. So I hope that works out for you. We can try out other things as we move along, but for now I think that'll work out just fine.